Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Stash Report from the Stash Project. Today's the 10th of March 2017, and thanks to Hostagao, we actually have a show. Actually, that's not true. We have a bunch of kit releases, but they came out this morning with a few new kit announcements, one of which is full of validation for the show in the sense of it's a kit I told you that was coming that had not been announced. Based on just the reading of the tea leaves and knowing what we're talking about. And so seeing it come out this morning, while I'm not going to claim any great power of knowledge or hobby insiderness, it is a nice little watch the show, you learn stuff. So try to see if anything else was announced other than that. No. So these are going to be for May of 2017. These are 3 kits that are announced from Hasegawa this morning, and they are the 1993 Subaru Impreza World Rally Championship car. This is another Colin McRae driven vehicle. It does represent the Royal Auto Club, the Rack Rally from 1993, so that'll be coming back. They're going to reissue another Porsche 962C. This was not so much a reissue because I do not believe this livery existed for Hasegawa in the past. This is going to be the Niseki Trust car for the Japanese prototype touring series. Car number 100. I believe Studio 27 did a set of these decals in the past, a long time ago. But like I said, I don't believe that Hasegawa actually did this as a livery set in their 962Cs in the past. So I believe this, like I said, is going to be a new livery set. And then the kit that we're talking about and excited to see come back is they're going to be reissuing the JACS Japanese Touring Car Championship Honda Civic. Now that is the 4-door racing Civic. Now we told you guys back in January when they announced that the Ferio sedan, the streetcar version, was coming back for March, that it would not be very long before we saw the race car come back because the 3-door, the hatchback Civic race car has sold very well. So Shazam, tada, literally did not know for sure it was coming back, but it was just an assumption based on sales and what Hasegawa has been doing and all that sort of thing. There it is. So I believe it'll carry the newly tooled suspension bits that came in the 3-door hatchback version, the stuff that they tooled up to make the car stance properly or stance better than it did before. Because remember, these are just race car conversions of the street car kit. So if you look up the listing for the Jack Civic, the car sits with a very street car attitude in the sense that the wheels are straight up and down and they're not tucked underneath the fenders at all like the real race cars were. So like I said, they tooled up that new set of uprights, struts, and springs and whatnot, and the new wheel backs, wheel hubs. So I assume that the 3-door, based on the bad literal Japanese to English translation, I believe those new parts will be included in this kit as well. So again, it'll actually fit correctly or look a little more realistic this time around. Now, you guys know, if you watch this show for a long time, what do we love here? Destroying kit value. And so this is going to be one of those kits as well. Taking a quick peek on eBay, the cheapest JTCC 4-door Civic race car is an auction for one that's running about $35 right now. That is an anomaly. That's somebody just wanting to get rid of a kit, obviously. The ones that are on there and are always on there tend to run $60 to $100. Could be that's too high a price, being the fact that they never seem to sell. But the reissue is going to be a whole whopping $25. So anybody who's been hoarding those kits thinking that there was going to be some extreme set of value to those 4-door racing Civics, go ahead and toss that idea out the window because it ain't happening for you. So Hasegawa, once again, much like they did earlier last year with the 3-door Civics and just destroying that market, you can now pick up the 3-door Civics, even the kits they had never reissued, like the Take 1 and the Nori P and stuff like that, for about $35, which is, right about $10 too expensive compared to the list price of what those kits used to cost, but they haven't reissued those specific liveries with that Enki racing wheel, so those kits, they're a little higher because the other option is a sold-out Zoom-on resin wheel. Man, you can't get it. So until those come back, and that's a $15 set of wheels and tires. So it's one of those things where $35 for the original kit, just for the wheels, basically, or set of wheels to another kit that's gonna, yeah, it all works out to be the same price in the end. But those kits again were 70, 80, $100 kits, and now they're, set, the reissues are 25, and the original ones are like 35, except for the spoon one because of that whole weird limited run that they did of those. So that takes us to kit releases and kit teases and news and things like that. So a couple of things up front before we get into the actual kit releases are Playmos. Playmos showed the hood. Remember last week they showed the brakes and the wheels and the tires to the Hellcat. So this week you've got the hood to the Hellcat. So this is coming up in its first CAD rendition. And then right now they're kind of stuck product wise, waiting on the factory for the photo etch, because obviously there's a bunch of photo etch stuff coming for like the SLS and the McLarens and things like that. Stuck waiting on the photo etch, so they made this. Be interested to see if this is actually going to make it into production or not. They said they would. It'll be a limited production because it's going to come with the tires too. And these are another set of wheels for the Revell of Germany BMW i8. So if you're not satisfied with the kit wheels and you didn't really want the turbine wheels that came out, now you got another option. So that'll be cool. No release date on that. Sometime in the late spring, early summer probably. And looking at the decal situation for this month and the early parts of March, you're going to get two sets of number plates out of Studio 27 for Japanese license plates. Now they are Japanese license plates, not American, not European or anything else like that. So that'll be an option for people who want to sort of create their own Japanese license plates. They're going to just be like a blank white piece of paper, and you're going to have to put the whole license plate together, which will mean you'll have to know how a Japanese license plate works. Obviously, Studio 27 is in Japan, so those people know how to put their own license plates together, but you have to do your own research on that. Taboo models, in addition to doing a bunch of stuff for the Ebro Type 91 Lotus, which is more like reissues from stuff that came out last month, is going to be doing a set of Marlboro decals for the B-Max Nissan 240RS rally car. This will represent, I believe, the 1984 Safari Rally of Kenya. Basically what the Toyota Corolla TA64 kit was. It's the same Safari Rally. Actually, all of the B-Max Toyota kits have been some version or year of that Safari Rally. So in this case, you will not have to go out and get the Marlboro logos like you do with the B-Max Celica kit. The Marlboro stuff will be in it, but it's another option if you don't want to do the Azor, the ones that are coming out of Reissues. So it's interesting, again, to see that there's increasing support for the 240RS. I think it tends to be because there is now going to be this large production of Group B rally cars, and the TA64 Celica and the 240RS, obviously are the two existing Group B rally cars outside of the Lancia 037 that Hasegawa does, and then you are going to get those other kits out of B-Max later in the year, plus the Opel out of Bell kits. So you're starting to see a little bit more factory support for the 240RS as, the plans to, go into Group B rally cars are sort of formalizing themselves. Plus the, you're going to get a bunch of rally cars, tarmac rally car stuff for the M3 out of B-Max as well. So rally kits, once again, still looking good. So otherwise, in Studio 27, the decals for this month are going to be a continuation of that World Series of Police car, and they are going to be the Audi R8. These are again Dubai. This will fit your Revell of Germany, Revell America R8 kit. I would say that if you're trying to build this now, to avoid the most recent Revell of Germany kit, because that kit is molded entirely in black. So, unless you want to paint a black kit white, which is possible, it's not that big a deal, but we've had this discussion before. I like to paint as little as possible in terms of number of coats of paint, and, white primer, white paint, and the clear coat. It's just more coats of paint than you need if you could just paint the thing white to begin with without the primer, starting with a white molded and white Revell USA box. Plus those kits are like a dime a dozen because they never really sell all that particularly well. That R8 does have roof lights. It'll be interesting to see if Studio 27 offers another set of roof lights like they're going to be doing with the Aventador, or you got to supply your own. It looks like a regular Well and Liberty LED bar, which is something similar to what the smallest LED bar in terms of thickness that came with that Dodge Charger kit from Lindbergh when they did the police version of that. So it may be possible to use that light bar. But again, maybe they'll do another light bar kit. And then the other set of decals for Dubai is this, which is the McLaren MP412C street car. Now they say, hey, use the Fujimi 12C. That's a race car. That's a GT3 race car at that. So, in addition to the fact that the car is, a single seat, roll cage, front splitter, rear splitter, giant wing, center lock, race wheels, sleigh. No, that's not at all an acceptable base model. So if you want to do this 12C police car, and it is an interior roof or interior lighting package, so there's no roof lights on it. There are two options that I have found so far doing research. And one is New Ray made a diecast of the 12C in 124 scale, or at least they branded as 124 scale. That one is red, so more likely you probably want to strip the paint off that, I would guess, rather than try to paint a white car over red, because then you get the whole weird pink thing in your door seams kind of thing if you're not painting carefully. Or if you want to go the full detail route and you're not afraid to spend a little bit of money, there is a Hobby Design resin multimedia kit. It's an entire kit. It doesn't just go onto the Fujimi kit. It is its own thing. It has an engine. It's full detail. Interior, the whole 9 yards, it's like $200. So if you really, 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 really want to build a street version, full detail, I mean, the diecast has an opening engine hood, so there's obviously something for the engine. But if you want to build a full detail, 124 scale 12C, there's an option for you. But, that is what it is, I guess. So, kit releases. All of the domestic stuff from round 2 for the month of March has come out, including the 53 Ford that we were talking about last week in the March video, but we weren't sure if it was going to come out or not. So they are from MPC, the reissue of the 1970 Dodge Coronet Super B. This kit has pad-printed Goodyear polyglass in it for the first time, of course, new decals. It's got the retro box art here. You saw that looks like the 1970 kit itself. So if you don't have one, it's a pretty decent kit. It is the 1970 annual body and interior with a newer, like mid-1990s B-body chassis and drivetrain underneath it. Either I can't remember if this is the Roadrunner or the GTX, because they were not technically the same kit in that way. I think they had the same chassis, but they, the bodies were obviously different. Being stuck underneath of that, so it's kind of sort of a new car or not. It's only had 2 runs back in '93 when the kit came out, and again in 2008 when round 2 bought out, or started leasing actually, because they hadn't bought the tooling at that point. So it's been 9 years since the last time it was reissued, and it's not the Pro Street kit for a change. Over AMT, they released their reissue to the 2017 Camaro SS1LE. This is the snap-tight version, obviously last month with the 50th anniversary, version of the Camaro. That was the full detail glue kit. This, again, the snap-tight kit. It's going to be molded in colors in the sense of not needing paint or glue. Obviously, if you're going to make an SS1LE, the 1LE is a suspension package, which in this kit, because it's a snap-tight with a more or less one-piece chassis, is irrelevant. But, if you're wanting to build a more serious version of it, obviously you're going to want to paint and, not so much glue, but you're going to want to paint it, obviously. And then the last kit out of AMT this month is the 1953 Ford Crestline Sunliner convertible. This, of course, the old Lindbergh tooling from the mid-1990s. We've talked about this before. Round 2's current plan to take all of that Craft House era 1990s tooling and rebrand it as AMT tooling to sort of differentiate it from the older Lindbergh stuff, which includes all that Palmer and Pyro and IMC crap. I know there's some people who like that stuff, but it's crap. Just deal with it. And this big mold in the USA sticker here. Obviously, none of the 90s craft era stuff went overseas. It's all here in the United States, cartograph decals. But the one sort of problem with this kit is the fact that not long ago, this most recent Christmas, actually, all these was fire sailing, at least the Indy 500 pace car version of this, for like $7. So it kind of makes this kit a little bit of a hard sell at $20+ reissue, just because I don't know if I don't know if the non pace car convertible was fire sailed or not, and at that point it really doesn't matter because you're talking about a set of decals basically. Uh, I think the reissuing the coupe would have been a better choice. I'm sure probably at some point they will reissue the coupe, just because the coupe hasn't, I don't think the coupe got a J. Lloyd reissue right before J. Lloyd went out of business and sold everything to Round Two. Uh, it may be that they did, and I just didn't see it. And the one big deal with Ollies is that not every single Ollies has the same kit, so it's kind of hard to tell. Sometimes they'll, one area has different kits. I did not personally see any of the coupe stuff get fire sailed at Ollies, but it's possible it did. But if you don't have one, and you want a fresh set of decals, because the other problem about the original Lindbergh era Craft House Ohio ones and the J. Lloyd ones, you're talking about kits that are 10, 15, 25 years old now. And what kind of condition are the decals going to be in? This will have a new set of cartographs. So if you're, want to be sure, so to speak, of your decals, buying the new one may be the best way to go. Going over into Japan, there are several reissues in one modified tooling, if you will. From Fujimi, they've reissued their Saber C31 120th scale F1 car. This, of course, represents the 2012 F1 series car with decals to build either the Japanese, the Spanish, or the German Grand Prix. Don't have much to say on it other than that because I'm not really into F1. Hasegawa has reissued their two kits for this month. These are in the historic rally car series. One is the 1992 Toyota Celica Turbo four-wheel drive, represents the fourth place finishing Tour de Course car. This is the race version of that street car. So the Celica, four-wheel drive GT kit that came out last month, or was supposed to come out in November, but just finally came out last month. And the other kit that has come out this month is a reissue of the 1992 Subaru Legacy RS. This is the Colin McRae car. You may recall 2 weeks ago I accidentally called the wrong car a Colin McRae car. This one really is the Colin McRae car, and it represents the second place finishing car at the Swedish Rally, or the Thousand Lakes Rally, actually. So if you're into collecting Colin McRae, which they must believe that people are, because like I said, they're planning to reissue another Colin McRae car in May, this would be one of the first cars that he ever drove, and one of the highest, as far as sort of, he was a junior level driver to the Subaru team, and the senior level, the main car went out of the race, and he finished second, and it was, sort of the beginning of his fame and popularity. So it's a historical car in that context, just besides being old. And like I said before, be interested to see if the street car version of this Legacy comes back out, because it's been a little while since that's been reissued. There's also a wagon rally version, so it'll be interesting to see if that and the street car wagon come out too. So it'll be interesting to see how much of this, older sort of reissued kits Hasegawa can, sort of, plumb, for the lack of a better term. It's free money. These kits have been out in production for quite a while. I think the Subaru last got a reissue about 15 years ago when the Mitsubishi Galant VR4 street car did. So it's been a little while. Wouldn't hurt to reissue them, I don't think. And then lastly, at Aoshima, reissue of all three of the Back to the Future cars again. So you've got the first movie, and you have the second movie, and the third movie. The third movie does come with the railroad wheels and a little diorama base, if you will, that has railroad tracks. The second movie car does have retracting wheels, so that you can put it into a flight type position. I don't think it comes with a stand for that, but the wheels do fold under. And then the last car, as my alarm to pick up my pre-K kid that goes off. So really quickly, as we plow through the last bit of this, is a Toyota 86 GT Limited, the 2016 86, with the optional wheels. These are the Work-O-Motion wheels. Be aware that this kit has all of the same parts that the regular version does, the regular street version that we talked about last week. This just has a optional set of wheels. The factory stock wheels are not in this kit, just the Work-O-Motions. Also, the Work-O-Motions are not powder blue like they are in the box art. They are chrome. So if you want to make them a spiffy pastel color, you're going to have to do it yourself. They do not provide a spiffy pastel color straight out of the box. So, I mean, obviously, that's just common sense. If you made them pastel blue, and people who didn't want them pastel blue would create a firestorm, just chrome plate them like they would be out of the box wheel set. And if you want to do something with them, do it on your own. So that, guys, that's it for this week. We're still waiting on a bunch of reissues from both Fujimi and Aoshima. The Mitsubishi Montero sports option kit from Tamiya reissued, of course, the new Corolla Levin stuff. And as we get here later in the month, we should start getting some more information. Aoshima did put out their little censored, we call it Japanese porn because it's got that blurriness. Put out their censored Shizuoka Auto Show flyer, or Shizuoka Hobby Show flyer, and so there'll be, at least I believe 6 or 8 automotive reissues on that, or new kits. So we'll keep an eye out on what those are going to be. From somebody in Japan, they said it's going to be like they're doing the model car 48, 49, and 50 on that flyer, which is interesting because right now we're at like 42, I think. So there's something like 6 or 7 more kits that need to be done in probably May and June to catch the numbering system up to these new kits that are going to be announced, or new kits. These kits in general, whatever they're going to be, are done in Shizuoka. So obviously there's going to be some announcements here towards the end of the month from Aoshima for like May and possibly June, as far as just sort of run-of-the-mill reissues into that series. So looking forward to it, and I'm always right there waiting on the new stuff. People tell me that I don't enjoy the current stuff that way, but it amuses me greatly just to see what comes next. So anyway, guys, we hope you have a great weekend. If you're on the East Coast, batten your hatches, go get your eggs, bread, and milk to make your French, emergency French toast, and we'll see you guys.